So look, thank you for taking your Saturday to chat with us. We're like super excited. And so what we wanted to do with our podcast, because we took like a break after the wedding, it was just like super crazy. We wanted to take it beyond the realm of just relationships, and take it to just, I mean, because our whole platform is no formula, is God's plan, right? And when we look at you, we look at your journey. This is a massive organization and platform that you've built in a little less than, or maybe over 2 years. I truly believe, obviously, you work hard, you're savvy, you're smart, but then God just had this amazing plan for you in the midst of a pandemic at that. So, we want to, share that story, share your energy, let people get inspired. Let those know that, I always say, while the vision might have been simple, the execution and plan on making it happen wasn't. And we just want to learn your formula. So that's why we're here today. And we thank you for joining us. And you know this character right here really well.
Character.
Yes.
For having
All right.
me.
So the Black Girl Social Club is an amazing organization.
We're
right into it now, okay? Right.
Okay.
That prides itself on providing a refreshing social club experience around curated events, learning, networking opportunities for us, by us, right?
Yes.
I'm a proud member, okay? Also part of the leadership team, yes. Okay. Did you have a formula when you founded the Black Girl Social Club? And did the organization realize the dreams you had when you conceived it?
Wow, good question. So the short answer is no. There was no formula whatsoever. I started the Black Girl Social Club as, it was kind of a selfish endeavor, actually, because I wanted to hang out with other Black women. And so, I haven't had the chance. It's strange because I haven't had the chance to do that because things have picked up so quickly. And I really didn't get to enjoy the fruits of the labor. But originally, I started because I wanted to hang out with other Black women like myself, who were looking for relationships, looking for meaning in their friendships. And I moved to Atlanta about 8 years ago by myself, right? I picked up and left DC. I packed everything into my Nissan Altima. It was silver, but it had a black door. And
okay. And you were fresh out of Howard University.
I was fresh out of Howard, but I actually, prior to that, I had been out for a few years. I was a teacher, and I had lost my job. I was laid off. And so I didn't know what to do. And I said, well, Atlanta feels like the place where Black magic is happening, Black excellence is happening. And I said, I'm going to Atlanta. And my parents were like, you doing what? Yes. I said, well, I'm going to Atlanta. No job, no nothing, right? So I slept on couches. I stayed in homes that didn't have hot water. Working nanny jobs for $8 an hour, bartending jobs. And finally, I was able to get a gig with Dr. Heavenly of Bravo's Married to Medicine.
Nice. Okay.
And the way that happened is I reached out to her randomly. I said, hey, I work for free. I just get my foot in the door. They brought me in. From that point forward, I started building my network. But when I say all that to say, when I went to these events, I didn't feel a connection with people. I just felt like I was showing up, trying to be cute, and everybody else was doing the same thing, right? Taking pictures. So no connection. So I wanted that network, and that's how the Black Girl Social Club came about. It was 12 women that I invited over one day. We had an event. They loved it. We cried, we laughed. I said, I want to feel this again. I want to do this again, right? And I wanted other people to feel that again. And so I started my first chapter, which is now the founding chapter, that year. It was right around New Year's Eve, because I was setting my New Year's resolutions, which I don't necessarily do anymore, but I set my intentions for the new year, so to speak. Long story short, Black Girl Social Club was born, and I didn't know that it was gonna take off how it took off. People started asking me, what are you doing? Who are you hanging out with? And I want to join. And I was like, wait, you want to join this? Yeah. And the next thing I knew, we had chapters in DC, Richmond, New York, LA, and 2 years later, 3,500 members strong.
Wow.
Nice.
So, one I mean, you know, I love the story of you being willing to just work for free, kind of have necessarily no plan outside of you just know that there's something better for you. There's a quote that I think it was Darwin, says necessity is the mother of invention. And so I've always believed that like that came out of the necessity for you to want fellowship, right? Just purely that. And then it just went from that to what it is now. But at what point did you realize like I have something, like, because that totally might not necessarily been the plan to create this global organization. So at what point was it that night where you're like, oh shit, I got something, I'm gonna blow this thing up to be global? Or was it like, 2020 when it was like, okay, all of a sudden there are all these Black women around the world, I'm able to maximize everybody just kind of being stagnant for a while and having a need for fellowship?
Yeah. So the moment I had that aha moment was when I was managing the club by myself, and I realized I could no longer manage it by myself. I had no processes in place, and that's why I have an amazing team now, and we can probably get into that later, but it looks like a fun endeavor, right? Social club, but it's still an organization. It still has processes. It still has goals we have to meet, objectives we have to meet, technology and tools we have to use, and that kind of thing. And I had none of that. And it just so happened that my best friend is in tech. She's an engineer. And she said to me, what are you over there doing? Because you're typing in your Excel spreadsheet. Mind you, when members first started joining, they were on a spreadsheet. They were in Excel. That was it. Wow. And then she came on, she helped me get everything in place. And we've been a team ever since. She's our COO. And that's when I knew, hey, this is something different, because I can no longer manage it on my own. Right.
What how do you balance the growth of Black Girl Social Club? You still have another job.
Yes.
And then just like your personal / social life, whether it be relationship or, just friendships and things of that nature.
And then yourself, having time for yourself.
Yeah.
Got to carve somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a good question. It's about being so intentional. It's about being so intentional.
That's
that's our word. Yeah. Intentional is the word.
You already know. You literally have to treat see, we do this with our businesses. We do this at work, where we put stuff on calendars and we plan, but most of us don't do it in our personal lives.
Yeah,
I realized I had to put stuff on the calendar for myself, for my man, for my friends. Hey, I got to fit this in because it's important to me. It's important to the people around me. And anybody who knows me knows I am a self-care queen. Okay. I get my self-care. I get my massages. I get my pedicures, my facials, my sauna. You said I was glowing. I just left the sauna.
Okay. And your exercise, you're always doing this.
I had a cycle gang.
Cycling.
Gang.
Yeah.
So I get it in. So I try, and don't get me wrong, it's tough. But you guys know this because you have so many amazing things going on, and then you're parenting and doing all the things that you all are doing. I don't even have that on my plate yet. But yeah, so it's about being intentional. Yeah.
I want to ask another question because I Michelle and I have these conversations. I grew up in a family with like extremely just very strong women. And I've often heard women say of your ilk, of her ilk, like, it's hard to do what you do, be in the spotlight and get the energy and the accolades and the adulation you receive, and then find a man that can handle that. So obviously you're in a relationship now, so you have somebody that can handle that promotes that. But how difficult, if at all, was it finding someone that could deal with you and what you bring to the table?
You know what? I have to be honest. I haven't really struggled with that.
Okay, that's good.
A lot of most of the guys I've dated have been either in the same world as me.
Okay.
So they understood what was happening, or they like the relationship I'm in now. He's an entrepreneur as well. Like he gets a lot of feedback and attention because he has a business. So he understands. And he's proud of me when I achieve my goals. I'm proud of him when he achieves his goals. So I don't think we have that issue. And I'm glad we don't, because I'd be out of here.
Yeah. So then we can dispel the myth that Black men are not intimidated by strong Black women who are being successful. Okay, cool.
Good.
Because,
So with your journey, has there been anything that got dampened or diminished or had to take a back seat while you pursue all these wonderful endeavors? And how have you been able to get that back on track, if you did?
Yeah, so definitely, that's a good question. My intentional time with my friends has kind of taken the back seat, to be honest. I get invited to some things and I'm like, I'm sorry, friend, I'm so exhausted. Like, I can't make it, or, that kind of thing. So what I've had to start doing again is being intentional. And Michelle, I sent you that invite for the brunch, because I'm like, hey, I want to hang out with these women, and I'm going to make sure that I do it, and I'm going to be intentional. So I will say my friendships have kind of taken a backseat, because by the time Friday rolls around, I just want to be on my couch watching Netflix.
In the bed.
So I want to give you a special thank you publicly, because for those that don't know that, don't follow our, little small platform, NoFormula22, that we're building. I remember reaching out to Carmen in November of 2020 and saying, hey, Carmen, like, I need to talk to you. And so she's like, all right, hit me. And I'm like, Carmen, I want to propose to Michelle. But I was like, it has to mean something, because I was looking at everything that was so important to this woman. And I was like, we're not going to no beach or no birthdays, none of that. Like, it has to be something that is extremely important. And so you gave me the opportunity to do it. Picked up the tab and everything. I thank you. I was like, I gave the card. He was like, good. So and the reason why I bring that up, because your organization for my wife, and even before she was my wife, has been truly like a sisterhood. She's part of a lot of organizations.
And it's different than the sororities. It's different than the civic organizations that you can be a part of, or any of those types. It's because the premise is not these requirements per se, right? These, restrictions, or this list of accolades or whatever you need to have to be a part of some other organization, It's just, a Black woman wanting to be involved, want to be a part of the sisterhood, want to give of service. That's a big part of the Black Girls Social Club as well, too, giving back.
So with that being said, as you grow, because how many members do you guys currently have?
About 3,500
from chapters from Atlanta to like out of the country, globally.
Yeah.
So how do you keep the fabric or the foundation or the sanctity or the spirit? That's the word I'm looking for. The spirit of what this organization was created for as you continue to grow.
Man, wow, that's a good question, because that's something we have to focus on a lot. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Honestly, it comes with a lot of reminders and just giving grace and guiding the people that are joining us. Because I think when people do look at our organization and they see our Instagram, they think, hey, we just gonna come here and we just gonna hang out and that's it. But any organization has to have some level of structure, a mission, a vision. This is what we want for our organization. This is what we want for our members. So, while we do love the freedom that we give our members and the Black girl magic and excellence. And you don't have to come from a lot of money. You don't have to have gone to a particular school. You don't have to be grandfathered in, but we require that you share our mission and our vision.
Right.
And so we sometimes have to remind ladies of that, but that's okay. We understand that's a part of the process and we don't mind doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Talk to me because you've talked about him so much and just like watching you and learning you, anybody that gets to watch you every day see so much of him in you. But talk to us about your dad and just the inspiration that he gave you and still gives you to just keep not only just pushing Black Girl Social Club, but just in life in general.
Wow. Yeah, I could talk to you probably an hour about that, but I'll keep it quick. My dad is right here on my wall. Keep it right here. He ran for school board. So he was in PG, Prince George County, Virginia, where I'm from.
Yeah. That's where y'all got the hoopers too.
Yes, we got it all, right? And he was that kind of person. Mm-hmm. He did the things that people thought he couldn't do, right? Mm-hmm. He grew up, he didn't have a lot of money. He grew up in the country, Disputana, Virginia, working in peanut fields and doing that kind of thing. And he made it all the way up to he got his doctorate. He was a colonel in the military. He made 6-figure salary, and he passed down. He is, and I'm not just saying this because he's my father. He is the smartest person I've ever met. And he passed down so many gems to me. He empowered me to believe that I could do anything, to think outside of the box. Don't be like everybody else, but make sure that when you get to a place where you can give back, you do that. And he always used to tell me, don't get too big-headed. Yeah. And so I try to operate in integrity. I try to operate with humility. And I don't ever want to give up, and I won't give up because that's not how he raised me. And so, that's just, I can just literally say I owe a lot, most of my success, of course, to both of my parents, but I spent a lot of time with my dad because I was a daddy's girl. So he instilled all of that in me. And every day, anytime I get good news, I get down on my knees. I pray to God. I thank not only God, I thank my ancestors, the people whose shoulders I'm standing on. And my dad is now one of my ancestors. And I'm so glad to be guided by somebody like him. Okay.
That was great.
Yeah, that was amazing. I had another question, but go ahead.
I do. So you mentioned how you are thinking out of the box and doing things out of the box. Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years doing something that's out of the box, not of your norm, that's going to grow and stretch you?
Oh man, I'm working on something right now, and it's a secret, so I can't really share.
We only got like 300
until we publish.
Yeah, we only got 300 people following us. That's it. We don't got a lot of people.
Nah, this is going viral. Trust. But I think that I see myself in a different place. In the next 5 years, doing some stuff I never thought I'd do, investing in some things, but I plan to have another business very soon this year that I think is going to surprise a lot of people, and it's going to stretch me because I have no idea what I'm doing. And
what you gonna do?
It's not my field at all. Yeah, it's not my field.
Okay.
Nice.
So like y'all got Black Girl Social Club. I be seeing like the little brunches and the gatherings that y'all be having. Like y'all be lit. When my wife go, I be sitting at home like, man, look like they sure having fun. Like are y'all gonna do anything maybe once a year that like integrates like the fellas? You know what I'm saying? Like because but we need. First of all, I feel like as a Black man, I always said like Black women are like the strongest people on this planet, not to knock any other woman from any other ethnicity. And part of that is because not only do you guys have to deal with just being a woman and just some of the physiological things you guys just have to deal with, but just also sexism, racism, classism, etc. And then on top of that, as a Black man, when I'm going through something, the person that has to absorb my challenges, my issues is my wife. right? And that's just how the world has been. Like black women are the cradle of civilization. So like, are there any plans to like maybe just have a 1 or 2 events with like other brothers and say, hey, black man, like we see you, we here, like, hey.
Absolutely. We actually
joy in the room.
Yeah. Because I mean, I just be feeling some kind of way. Like I want to have some mimosas too,
I struggled with this idea for a while, right? Because the Black Girls Social Club was developed specifically for Black women. It was developed with us in mind to say, listen, we're taking off the hat of being the mother, the caretaker, the this, the that, right? We are strictly focused on ourselves. And I wondered if I did something like that, would it kind of muddy the water? But I decided that this year we will be having an event where we're going to bring in the guys, right? We're going to include, because at the end of, because not only have we been getting some husbands and boyfriends and partners that are feeling a little cranky and left out when their girls are out.
Jelly.
Ain't nobody.
We get all dressed up.
And
we come back a little.
I just be on my phone like
a little tipsy. Like you sending that new.
Yeah, I be sitting at home like, dang, and I be looking like, what am I doing with my life right now?
Waiting on me.
Yeah, waiting on you, basically.
Yeah, you getting that what is it? The WYD text that knew what you doing because she just got back from brunch.
Right.
But we definitely want to incorporate Black men, because at the end of the day, we can't be a community without Black men. We can't move forward without Black men. So while we want to work on ourselves as Black women together, we still want to put that energy back out into the community so that it can transfer over to our partners, our boyfriends, our husbands, our uncles, our fathers, and share that same energy. Yeah. So, we definitely have something in the works for 2022.
Okay, nice. Just make sure it's mimosas and stuff. How do you want to drink mimosas?
Yeah, we'll get extra.
And he's going to be the spokesperson for it, for the men. Okay.
Let me turn up.
The gift of gab, that journalism degree, and get these people to come out.
Perfect.
I'm gonna do our thing. What is if you have what's in your playlist? Like, I don't know if you have Spotify or Apple Music. But like, what are the top 5 songs that you can think of that's in your playlist right now that just get you like ready to go?
People laugh at me because I have been this way forever. I only listen to old school music. I only listen to 80s, 90s R&B.
Oh, yeah.
90s was the best. 90s was the best decade. 90s was the best decade. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at my playlist, to be honest, you're not going to find a whole lot of like recent music. You're going to find Sade. You're going to find Anita Baker. You're going to find, Maxwell. Those are the kinds of, that's the kind of stuff I like to listen to because it just feeds my spirit.
Yeah.
And it's nostalgic for me. And I grew up in a household where music was a big deal. My dad used to be a DJ.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we listen to a lot of music. You have the back patio door open and you're grilling and you're doing all that. So that's the kind of music I listen to. But if I had to pick like a modern day artist that gets me hyped, I would have to say that might be, I would just probably say, this is going to be cliche, but Beyonce. Like, I like me a little Beyonce's tune every now and again. So, yeah. Yeah.
Her magic in you.
Yes.
I want to, this final question, unless you have something. What do you say to that 14, 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl? Maybe she's going to college, maybe she's not. But what do you say to her about the world that she will experience socially, personally? Like, what do you say to her that will keep her uplifted and forward and moving forward?
Wow, so much. But I would say, here is the advice I would give any young person out there, any young girl, especially young Black girls. Make sure that you don't absorb the ideas and the energy that society puts out about who you are. and who you can be, right? Because only you determine that. You determine that. God determines that. You already have a purpose. Your job here is just find out what that purpose is and make sure that you're doing everything that you can to fulfill it, right? Because God provides, God provides what he has willed, he will give provision for.
Amen.
So it's already laid out. So you just have to believe that you can achieve it. And I mean, self-confidence is the number one thing. We're starting, I want to talk a little bit about BGSC Junior because that is the extension of Black Girl Social Club. And we did a survey with some of our participants that are going to be coming in. And the number one thing that they struggle with is self-confidence. So I think it's very important for us, for people like us, to keep letting the young people know you can do it. It can happen. But, make sure you have a plan, but you can do it. And so that would be the number one thing I say that helped me get to where I am right now today is just believing that it can happen. You might sound like a crazy person to everybody else. Some of the stuff I say to people, they're like, what? But if you believe it, that's all that matters. Find somebody else who believes it so they can help you achieve your goal.
Right. It's going to be somebody else.
Right. I swear that was gonna be my last question, but it's more of a comment than anything. And please, feel free to comment on my comment. But one of the things as a business, what I've noticed with Black Girl Social Club is just like a lot of the brand integrations, because you have a platform of like 200 something thousand people just on Instagram alone. And so like people are paying attention to that. Like even to some of the creatives that I've written, like I've pitched you or Black Girl Social Club because you guys have literally become a force for Black women. And as we know, like, Black people dictate the culture, in particular Black women. So as that part of the business continues to grow, how do you manage it all? I mean, I know you say you have a great team of people, but like, how does that work?
So I think it's just setting goals, right? What is the focus right now? For us, our focus right now is growing our team, making sure that we have the right people in place. Because somebody told me before that having a bad team member will destroy your business quicker than having, what would they say? Essentially, I forgot the quote, but essentially it's not having the right people on your team will destroy your organization quicker than anything else, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting the right people in place, right? And so that's our number one focus right now. But as we move forward, it's just putting things in place like tiers. We want to come out with member tiers. That's going to change the game. Right? That's going to transform and make this something different and make it better for our members to have a better experience. So I say all that to say, you have to have a focus each quarter, each month, each week. What are we focusing on now? And that's how you continue to grow and move forward.
No, that's dope. I appreciate that. Look, man, this
was good.
Yeah,
the founder and CEO of the Black Girls Club has blessed us today.
Thank you for having me.
No, we thank you. Like, this is just so important to us, and I mean, goodness, like this, I'm ready to go. I don't know what we're gonna do after this. I'm ready to go somewhere. Just take some self-care.
Yeah, you want some self-care?
Yeah, I want some self-care, like something.
To celebrate us.
Yeah. So we thank you.
You've given us some good energy.
We thank you for your energy. We thank you.
Likewise.
I personally thank you for what your organization has done for my wife and what you're doing for others.
And I want to say that members like Michelle is what keeps us going, right? Because you can't be sure that people are going to be in line with your vision. You can't be sure that people are going to take in what you're trying to put out, right? But when you have people like Michelle, and there's so many others that really are just down for BGSC, even when we didn't have half the stuff that we have now. They started from the bottom with us, right? And so we are so glad that we're able to continue to give them new and exciting things as we continue to build and grow. That is like what makes me so happy. I want to make it clear that us who benefits from members that we have, and especially members like Michelle. It makes us so happy.
So proud of you.
And, you know, we cry. Sometimes we have a moment where we're just crying like, wow, this is great to have people like this in our corner. So anyway, I say all that to say, we really get a lot from this experience as well. It's not just our members who benefit in the long run.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I wish we had something to toast to.
I know.
It's in the kitchen. It's in the kitchen. We're gonna go ahead. You've inspired us to brunch it out for the rest of the day.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course, we'll alert you before we even put this interview up. But this has been good.
We appreciate your time.
I appreciate y'all. I'm willing to come back anytime.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So. So we just thank you. It's funny because people don't know, like, I think we were trying to do the interview before January, and it was just like, I know we were just kind of like drained. So like when you had to move, we were
good. We were displaced. You know, we were in Florida the first time. We were still trying to make it happen. We're not just gonna do it just to do it, and it's not right.
So to your point, guys, timing, and this was like the perfect time because like if we had done it when we had a schedule, we was in a hotel room and Caden was bouncing around.
Trying to find a nice space in the lobby.
I was
like, no, this is not good. No.
Listen, sometimes when you want to do something, that's not when you're supposed to do something, right? And God will say, hold up, wait a minute. Let me guide you in the right direction. So I'm glad it worked out the way it worked out.
All right, cool. We're gonna end it just like that.
All right. All right. Thank you.
All right, we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Peace.
All right, peace out.